Well, hi there, property buyers. Today, we are going to show you how to save many thousands of dollars when buying at auction. The first scenario we're going to look at is when the property doesn't pass in, when it sells under the hammer. The first important fundamental is to study recent and comparable sales, so you have an excellent understanding of the value of the property. So go to auctions, inspect homes for sale in the areas that you're looking to purchase. My next tip is just prior to the auction, make sure you agree to the terms and conditions with the selling agent. For example, the length of the settlement. How much is the deposit going to be? How is the deposit going to be paid? And any other special terms and conditions that you may require. For example, access to the property to show through prospective tenants prior to settlement. Okay, property buyers, the big day's arrived. You're at the auction and you're feeling a little nervous. My first tip is don't start bidding until the property has been announced on the market. You don't want to fuel the fire. You don't want to start bidding up the price of the property before you have to. My next tip is never bid against a vendor bid. The perfect scenario is the property is passed in without a genuine bid. If the property is announced on the market, wait until the intensity has gone out of the bidding. Then start bidding, confidently, without hesitation. That'll put pressure on the other bidders. During the auction, stand where you can see the majority of the crowd. There are two reasons for this. Firstly, so you can assess the body language of other bidders. Slowing their bidding and appearing stressed are indicators that they are nearing the end of their limit. And secondly, so you can identify who your genuine competitors are should the property pass in. Okay, property buyers, let's look at the situation of the property passing in. It hasn't reached the seller's reserve price. My first tip is to make sure you're the highest bidder if there are other genuine bidders competing for the property. The reason for this is that most selling agents will give the highest bidder the first right of refusal at the reserve price. Secondly, don't go inside the property to negotiate if invited by the selling agent. You need to stay outside and survey the scene. Who are your genuine competitors, if any?
For the third and final call. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the property will be passed in for $690,000. Please come inside, Peter, and I'll speak to the seller.
I'm happy to wait out here. My next tip is to ask the selling agent what the reserve price is before starting any negotiation.
Okay, well, the property's been passed in for $690,000. What are you willing to offer?
Well, what's the reserve price, Chris?
Okay, I'll check with the seller.
Start the negotiation from a low point, keeping in mind the true market value of the property based on recent and comparable sales. Let's say in this situation, the market value of the property is around $750,000.
Okay, Peter, the seller's reserve is $800,000.
Well, okay, Chris, I'm willing to make an offer of $700,000.
I'll check.
Slow the negotiation so that all other parties, including neighbours, leave the scene. You want to find out if there are any other genuine buyers waiting around.
Okay, Peter, are you willing to increase your offer?
Well, I need a few moments to consider my position here, Chris. Everybody has gone home. I'm the only one left here showing interest in this property. That is the ideal position to be in. Remember, if you're increasing your offer, insist that the seller reduce their asking price. Also, during the negotiation, you should be mentioning specific recent sales to convince the seller that your offer should be accepted. Okay, Chris, I'm willing to increase my offer to $730,000. It's now up to the seller to reduce their asking price.
Thank you, Peter. The seller will now accept $770,000.
All right, look, I'm willing to increase my offer by a further $10,000 to $740,000.
The seller will now accept $760,000.
My final offer is $750,000. But just remember, the house around the corner at number 5 Smith Street just sold recently for $750,000, but that property had an extra room. I think it's time to go home.
Wait, Peter, it's a deal.
If the seller's final asking price is too far above the market value of the property, leave the negotiation.
Okay, Peter. The seller is not prepared to reduce their asking price from $800,000.
Okay, I'll consider my options and I may speak to you in a few days. Have a pleasant day. The seller is likely to reduce their asking price as time goes on, so you may want to revisit the negotiation in the next few days. But remember, it's important you have a really good understanding of the value of the property, because once you leave the scene, someone else may recognise a good opportunity and buy the property. For some more great tips on negotiation, I highly recommend you download the private sale negotiation video. There are many variables in a property negotiation, so always seek independent advice from a qualified buyer's advocate before entering any real estate negotiation.